All right. We're
we're, we're back.
we are. We're back.
I was wondering where Millie was. I was like, does she not want to
Hey.
be on today's show? All right,
Hey.
she's back where she belongs. All right,
There she
welcome
is.
back to another edition of Live Feed Read. I'm Paul Reed,
Yeah.
your host. We've got the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford right there in Tallahassee, Florida.
That's right.
It is August 23rd, 1 o'clock on a Friday. For those keeping track, big game tomorrow for you Seminole fans. FS
Ooh.
plays Georgia Tech in Ireland.
Oh yeah. I heard
So
about
it's noon, and I believe that's the first game regular season. Remember, college doesn't have preseason, so it's a regular season game. So I'm looking forward to that. Ryan and Jacquelyn are actually in Ireland for the
that. What's
game.
the deal with Ireland?
Alcohol, I don't know.
Just why they were like, let's just have the game in Ireland.
Beer, golf
Okay.
courses.
The
I don't know.
pregame, they pregame harder.
I'm sure. All right, so I don't know if we've talked about this before or not,
All right,
but
shoot.
it kind of came up a few times when I was down in Bradenton back in the mid '90s, because it was back then it was more rural than it is
Okay.
now. But
Okay.
we've got a call this week from an individual in Lakeland.
All right.
It was a motorcyclist that ran into a cow on the street. And, you can imagine, the cows are hundreds of, he didn't think it was funny. It was dark.
I know.
Cow.
Oh, it was dark. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was dark. Black
Okay.
cow.
Oh no, that's worse.
Yeah, and he smoked it. He smoked
Those
it.
eyes just look at you out of the.
What was the road? It doesn't matter. He was
That's so horrible.
he was hurt. And so of course,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
he wanted to, I mean,
Yeah.
I hear it. But he wanted to bring a claim, or wants to bring a claim against the who he perceives to be the owner of the cow.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the law first.
The cow told him
and
move over.
Why those cases are really difficult. So
Okay.
the law, which has been in effect for a long time, because Florida, obviously back in the day, was rural farming, both cattle, livestock, horses, and then fruits and vegetables, so to speak. And so it's called the Warren Act, WARREN. And basically what it says is for the owner of livestock, in this case cattle, you have to prove a couple of things. You have to prove, number one, who owned the cow.
Okay.
And you think that might be easy, but not necessarily. And number two, you have to prove that the cow in this case was on the public roads due to the owner's intentional, willful, careless, or negligent actions that led to.
That's an or.
Yeah, if he's intentionally, I don't know, if he's walking the cow down the street.
But it's not an and statement. You don't. It's an or statement.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Intentional or willful or careless or negligent.
Okay.
Okay, and that permits the livestock to stray upon the public roads. That's the Warren Act. So you got to prove ownership, and then let's just call it negligence. Yeah.
Okay, it's not too dissimilar from a car accident. You kind of, the owner takes responsibility, like you've said before. Like if I borrow your car, like the owner takes a responsibility in that too, not just the driver.
Yeah. So it's kind of closer to a dog bite case. First off,
okay, fair enough.
The owner in a dog bite case, which is different than the cases with livestock. The owner in a dog bite case, if the dog bites you, with a couple of exceptions, but if the dog bites you, it's called strict liability. The owner's responsible.
Okay.
Not so with livestock, straying onto the public roads.
Interesting.
You can't say it's his cow, it's Jason's cow. I ran into it, I was injured, therefore Jason's responsible.
Right.
There's no strict liability when it comes to livestock or cattle on the public highways. You have to prove, basically, let's just call it negligence, because
Okay.
the intentional or the willful, back in the 1800s, you might have cattle drives, that where the
Yeah.
cow maybe crossed the road and a wagon hit it, or
Yeah.
something like that. But
Right.
so now it's basically careless or a negligent conduct.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
So
so
like
there's
fences not
well,
properly
we're going
maintained.
to get into
Oh,
that, 'cause
okay. Okay. I'm
there's
jumping
our
ahead.
case where he hit
Sorry.
a black cow at night on the roadway.
Right.
So there are a couple of cases. They go back to 70s to as late as early, recently, I should say, as this one in 2019. So the first case in 1975, same thing. It was a motorcycle that hit a black cow on the public road.
Okay.
All right. The owner of the cow disputed that he owned the cow.
Okay. Not my cow. Not
Yeah.
my cow. Not my problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's number one. And just because, let's just say we're here at Reed and Reed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we have cows here at Reed and Reed. And
Okay.
there's a cow on the street, and there aren't any other cows around. That don't mean it's my cow.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
this guy's position. Like, yes, I have cows, but this one wasn't mine, and you have to prove that it was.
Ooh.
And you can't just say, well, you have cows like this cow, so it's your cow.
Oh,
Like
no.
that. This was even, they got into
Darn it.
this guy.
So they don't notch the ears or brand them anymore?
Well, I'll get into that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
This cow actually had a brand. But
Okay.
it was kind of the brand, evidently, they were arguing that it must have been, let's say, a sloppy brand, for lack of a better description. Some
Oh,
of the
dear.
cows had a J that you could easily see was a J.
Okay.
This one, I don't know if the cow moved, and it was more of
Oh, you're
of
gonna
a,
give me like
a J
anxiety.
that doesn't look like a J.
Yeah.
And then the owner
Jeez.
said also, all my cows are branded on the right side. This one was on the left.
Mhm.
Again,
Okay.
not my cow. All right. So that was the number one fight, because you have to prove ownership.
Yeah.
And then number two was, of course, you have to prove negligence. So the court goes on to say, well, and just so you'll know, at the trial.
And it was a female. It was a cow, not a bull, right?
Correct. Yeah, these were
Okay.
cows.
Yeah.
And so
They don't
that
lend out. They don't usually borrow each other's cows. They typically will borrow each other's bulls to mate them, but they don't usually borrow each other's cows. So it's not like, oh, I borrowed that from so and so. It's not mine.
fair enough. But hold on a second. We got the ambulance going by.
Your song is playing.
Exactly. So that was number one. They were fighting over that. And
Interesting.
Then they were fighting over that the cow got out of the property.
Okay.
And there was an issue that these cattle had gotten out of the property on more than one occasion, and even recently.
And you said he smoked the cow, like it died.
Well, on the case I'm reading, they don't really say one way or the other.
So you couldn't like wait for the cow to try to go back home and see where it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't even get into that. So
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
if the cow died. My guess, if you got hit by a motorcycle, a cow at 50, 60 miles an hour, they
Yeah, if it's
usually
that fast.
die.
Yeah,
They usually die. They don't just shake it off and wander home.
Right. They're not your
So
brother
anyway, so
at the game.
The brand was the issue,
Yeah.
and then the fact that the plaintiff wanted to say, well, look, these cows got out regularly, and there have been reports to the police and to the animal control or whomever, and the neighbors even said these cows got out often.
Okay.
Do you
Pattern.
think that's enough? The fact that the cows
No.
regularly got out.
No, I don't think that's enough. Like it's definitely building a case, but I don't think that's enough. Yeah.
Right. Well, here's what the case turned on. The court said, well, there's enough as far as the ownership, whether it was a J or not, that's for a jury to decide.
Okay.
And the fact that the cow was in the general vicinity of where the defendant's property. They said these are facts sufficient enough to let the jury decide ownership.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so they deal one question at a time. Okay, and the judge should not have, the judge actually granted a directed verdict for the cow owner and said no, they can't prove their case, dismissed. But the appellate
Ooh.
court said there was enough there to prove ownership. Now they said, well,
Hmm.
what about negligence? And they said, well, this court back in 75, which was the second district where we're at here in Tampa, says, well,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that those cows got out regularly recently, not, over the 30 or 40 or 50 years, that they
Right.
had numerous times recently,
Right.
plus the fact that the fence was in disrepair
Okay. Yeah. There
was
you go.
enough to allow
Yeah.
a jury to at least decide the case. And
Yeah.
so
Okay. Good.
this case turned on the fact that really
There was evidence of disrepair. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay.
That makes
All right.
sense.
So
That makes
that's
sense.
this case. So ownership was disputed, but there was kind of something that looked like a J. And
Yeah.
the fact that
So
the
did
cows, hold on, Jason. The fact that the cows were out, they were near his property, and his fence was in disrepair was enough to allow a jury to decide.
so the jury decided on the ownership?
The jury would decide on both.
Okay.
It
Okay.
got remanded back to the trial.
Okay. Got
So
you.
they,
Okay.
the appellate court, the second district, overruled the trial court and said, no, there are enough facts here that you should not have basically granted a direct
summary.
verdict,
Okay.
summary judgment, whatever you want to call it, for the defendant. This case should go to trial.
Okay. Yeah.
Now-
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now jump ahead 75, 85, 95, 2000, jump ahead 40 years to 2019.
There's just a lot of beefy details that really have to be fleshed out in these.
Much so. Well, and let me stop there. My case that we had back in, because you brought up the ear tags, right?
Yeah.
So it's back, this was 1997 or 8, but we sued a property owner for the same thing.
Okay.
This was a semi-tractor trailer that hit the cow and
Ooh.
flipped over.
Oh.
So on that one, yes, the cow was dead.
Yeah.
And it was on 64 out there.
All over 64.
No, State Road 64 or whatever. Anyway, so the tractor trailer flipped over. The cow was dead. Sue him. He was hurt, and come to find out, a lot of farmers, not farmers, cattle ranchers, horse ranchers, or otherwise, at least back in 1997 down in Bradenton, they do not or did not brand their cattle.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No.
That made it easy. That made it easy to prove.
Yeah.
Who owned the cow? Number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did they do? They put tags in their ear, right?
Okay.
So guess what happened when the crash occurred? And at some point, remember, this was rural. It was middle of the night. It was near the farmers, the rancher's property.
Okay.
They heard the crash. Everybody heard the crash.
Okay.
When the police showed up and there was gasoline issues, I mean, this was a semi-crash.
Oh man.
It was a real mess.
Okay.
Guess what the cow did not have?
Ears.
Correct. The ears, God bless, had been cut off the cow.
Oh no. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. You're saying that when they showed up to take evidence, the cow's ears had been lobbed off.
Well, one ear, the one with the tag.
Oh, and okay. Oh, that's deviant. Okay. So it's not like, oh, his head got crushed, blah, blah, no ears could be found. You're saying there was tampering.
I'm saying the rancher cut off the damn ear.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's what
Okay.
I'm saying happened.
I'm interested. What happened next?
The cow was on the property. Okay.
Okay.
On my case. And as is this, which made me find this one, as in this case that we'll talk about here, The gate was open.
Okay.
So the gate was open. The
Yeah.
rancher testified it's his practice and procedure to walk his fence weekly, looking for a down fence or a damaged fence.
Right. Okay.
He
So
didn't
he's
walk
saying I'm
it.
not
I think he
negligent. I'd
drove
do this.
around in it's either a golf cart or some kind of buggy. So when I say
Yeah.
walk, it was a big area, but
Right.
whether he did it or not, it doesn't matter. This was his
Right. He said he did.
testimony. And
Yeah.
he said that he basically every night, which the gate's not far from his property, makes sure that the latch is secured before he turns in for the evening.
Fair enough. Of course, he's going to say
So
that.
so we were not able to prove who the cow belonged to,
No.
and we were not able to prove negligence.
Did he not notch the ears on his other cows the same ear
Well, it was
that was
a
missing?
tag. They
Oh.
had tags. Like your dog tag, like Millie
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
tag.
Yeah.
Well, if you
Okay.
rip the
Okay.
tag off, you don't have a tag.
But did he tag the same ear? I guess I was like, oh, the ear that went missing is the ear.
There was
Yeah,
no
it doesn't.
tag.
It's not
There's
enough.
No
It's not enough.
identifying markings on the cow. No, we tried to make the same argument as everyone else. Look, it's the only
Hashtag.
farm around here.
Yeah.
Type of cow. That's just not good enough.
No, man. Hashtag not my cow.
And again, the fact that you have to prove negligence. Well, if he
Dude.
says I walked and there really wasn't anything wrong with the fence, it had just been
The
left
gate was open. Yeah.
opened or otherwise. Well, his story was, look, people, which was kind of sad. He goes, people come into my which you'll get a kick out of this, into my property looking for mushrooms all the time, kids.
Oh.
Now, that one I kind of believe because, well, let's just say I might have known a person or two that maybe jumped the fence near a golf course looking for mushrooms. I'm just saying.
Oh my word.
Growing
Yeah.
up.
Good grief.
So that was we lost. I mean,
Holy cow, that's crazy.
Couldn't prove the cow, couldn't prove negligence, had a plausible explanation as to why the gate might have been open. And so
what would it have cost him if he'd have lost?
I don't know. I'm sure he had insurance, but it just remember, it's not really the cattle rancher or even the automobile driver or whomever that fights these cases. When I get in a car wreck, Jason, it's not you who's saying don't pay Paul Reed. It's your insurance company saying I don't want to give you.
Yeah, I don't want to pay that.
You're just Jason Crawford along for the ride.
Oh my word, man!
If you look at your policy, we don't have to have your permission to settle. We can hire whoever we want by way of a lawyer. We can defend however we want. You just shut up and do what we tell you, Jason, or else guess what? We're going to deny coverage under your policy for lack of cooperation.
Yeah, right.
All right, so let's move on past that.
Jeez.
So this next one, though, in 2019, it was the same thing.
Wait, there's more cow problems?
Car hits a cow. What? And on the same thing, this one, the lawyer said, well, how many times have your cows gotten out? They tried to basically prove negligence by saying your cows get out all the time.
Okay.
This one, the cow ownership wasn't disputed.
Okay.
It's my cow.
Okay.
Owned up to it. On this one, the gate was left open as well or unlatched. So that's how the cow got out.
Okay.
So they again tried to prove that these cows got out so many times that you were basically negligent because you failed to secure them numerous times.
Okay.
Well, the farmer says, well, yes, in the last 30 years, talking a long period of time, remember, this was 30 years. The other case was they were out numerous times
recently. Right.
But that probably wouldn't have been enough, but for the fact that the fence was dilapidated.
Right.
Okay, so
proof
this
of disrepair.
My cows have been out because of hurricanes. Hunters on my property, spook them with their dogs. Trees have fallen on the fence and knocked down such that the cows have gone out.
Okay, so normal reasons.
Right, my neighbors have left the gate open or otherwise when they come in doing whatever.
None of these are negligence. Yeah.
And vandals.
Okay. I mean, these are all problems, but none of these are like gross negligence.
Well, it doesn't have to be gross, just negligence.
Or okay, yeah, negligence then, yeah.
And so
I feel like it's negligent if your people visit you and you don't close up after them, but like,
well, it's hard to say. Sometimes, well, you say that, but a buddy of mine has a ranch right over here on McIntosh where he sells the hay, the big bales.
oh,
Well, Jason is a regular purchaser of the bales with his big truck. My buddy Bob has a business. He goes, yeah, go in, load up your bale,
and get
here's
it,
the
yeah.
tractor and so forth, and then close the gate and send me the money.
And you don't.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, I got you.
Bob
That makes sense.
relies on Jason to shut the damn gate.
You're right. You're right.
All
You're right. Fair point. This is
so-
why lawyers are important.
Yeah. So anyway, in this case, basically the judge granted the directed verdict because the ownership was disputed, but there was no way to establish negligence because the guy indicated that same thing, that he shut the gate on, and checked the gate at night. His fence was in proper order, and
Man, yeah.
I don't know how the cow got out, other than the
Yeah.
gate was open, and there are any number of reasons why that could have happened. And
Yeah, but at
so,
least he owned up to having owned the cow. That's a good start.
yeah, he did, but
Yeah.
and so these.
Do you think that
cases-
plays better with the jury? I mean, did this go to a jury?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
No,
Does that
that's
play
the problem.
better?
The only reason that other case, in my opinion, got to a jury is because his fence was such disrepair that the court said, well, we don't know if he won even.
Yeah.
Other 75 doesn't mean he won. It just
Right.
means
Right.
The plaintiffs were allowed to at least ask the jury
Jury.
to find against him.
Yeah. Okay.
Because,
Fair enough.
You know,
Fair enough.
he failed to basically make sure his fence was in such a manner to prevent the cows from getting out. You follow me?
Yeah, yeah. And so even with the 3 cases we've looked at now,
Right.
so none of them have been necessarily even proven, like
Oh yeah,
settled,
we don't know.
finished.
I lost. The 2019 lost.
Man,
And the other one went back for jury trial to see who is, if the plaintiffs can prevail.
these cows are weapons of mass destruction, and they're just
Well,
getting
cows-
away with it scot free.
It's cows and horses, but
Yeah.
the problem is, the clients get mad at you, but it's like, I hit his cow, her, whatever. I hit.
They
ranch
know. They think they
cow.
know.
I'm hurt. They should have to pay.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a symptom of a larger problem, which is like we see and we think we know everything that we see. And sometimes there's just we need more evidence. Things have to be provable. Like you got to draw the line and connect the dots.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you're hurt.
But here's the thing. The problem is that this it's kind of an archaic law. The Warren Act is an archaic law that was meant to protect farmers probably at least 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know that there were a whole lot of automobiles, on the roadways, and so forth, back in, blah, 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 blah. But it was really meant to protect, the farmers when Florida was not what Florida is today.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised.
I would disagree with it nowadays because, put a lock on the gate. And now the kids looking for mushrooms or whomever can't just open the gate and your cows wander out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you live near a roadway, if your cattle gets out and someone hits it, someone can be seriously hurt or killed.
Yeah. I think,
So I just think there's a few easy steps that can be taken
yeah,
to probably prevent it. One, make sure your fence is, is a fence. And two, make sure the gate's locked.
I'm surprised that no one has gone the way of nowadays where they go, oh, you destroyed my prized cow. It was grass long before it was a road. He has the right to be there, and you mauled him over. You owe me. Like, I'm surprised we
No,
haven't tried to flip
no,
it,
at this
as
point,
crazy as things are.
they're trying to avoid having to compensate. Usually most people are
Yeah,
significantly injured. Now, the real
yeah,
kick
it's
in the
sad.
ass,
I make light, but it's not.
the truck driver actually had to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the oil and gas cleanup because he couldn't pin it on the rancher.
Oh no.
Yeah, I forget I forget the people that come out, hazmat or whomever.
Yeah.
It, it was a staggering amount of money that they
Jeez.
had to pay to clean up that mess.
Yikes.
So not only are you hurt, your truck trashed, you get stuck with the bill.
All because some dude's cow wandered out into the road and he won't take responsibility for it. Dude,
Hey, you know what?
Oh my
God
god.
bless America.
Oh.
All right, well that's it. So if you get in one of these
Get revenge, eat a steak.
if you get in one of these situations, don't blame the lawyer if he can't prove your case, because they're very difficult.
You've made the good point there. Like, you've made a valid point through looking at these different cases. Like, it makes sense. It's still hard to hear when you're injured, but you make a good point.
Yeah, well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If this job was easy, everybody'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so it's 1:30. We rambled
Yeah.
on for about 30 minutes.
Oh man, wow.
That's all I have. It's
Okay.
August is almost over. The temperature's starting to drop a little.
A little bit.
So Jason, take us out, and hopefully, God willing, we'll be here next Friday live and in color on TV land, so to speak.
You got it.
Reed and Reed, it's like having a lawyer in the family.